Hello friends, you're the Lonesome Gamer, and today I'm playing Sentinels of the Multiverse by Greater Than Games. It's a card game, and well, the theme is pretty obvious. It's about superheroes fighting villains. The game was very successful, and it's really popular. And following its success is now, well, kind of a hype of these superhero card games. There are a few now, but that was basically, at least that's what I think. I think that was actually the first one. And there were also a few expansions released for this game. And just to give you an overview of what is out there, there is the Rook City expansion. You get more heroes, more villains. And the Infernal Relic expansion, same thing, more heroes, more villains. And also here Shattered Timeline, and again, more of it all, and of course more environments in all three expansions. In addition, there are a few mini expansions. I don't know, 2 or 3 hero expansions, only one single new hero with its deck, and also 2 or 3 environment expansions, and I don't know, maybe same about the villains, something like that. But in this video we're gonna focus here on the base game, and maybe in some later videos we will play the expansions. One thing is important, this is the enhanced edition. So some features, some components that come with this edition are not in the basic edition, and as far as I understand it, this is really an enhancement. It's not just to make more money, but it makes the game more easy, and there is also a new way to adjust the difficulty of the game depending on how many players are fighting the villains. And that wasn't possible in the basic edition of this game. Okay, so let's set up the game. Okay, so the game is set, and we play with 3 heroes: Legacy, and Bunker, and Absolute Zero. And the villain is Citizen Dawn. And we will play in the ruins of Atlantis. And that's actually the basic concept of the game. You always play with different heroes. There are in the base game, there are 10 different heroes against some kind of villain. There are 4 different villains in the base game, and you will do this in different environments. There are also 4 different environments. So there are, I don't know, probably dozens of different combinations, maybe even more, and so there is a lot of replayability in that way. Let's see what the background story of the heroes is. We have here the biography of Legacy. The Parsons family itself represents one of the most enduring traditions the United States has to offer. The British they have the monarchy. Americans, they have legacy. Ever since Joseph Parsons spotted British soldiers on the Charles River, making possible Paul Revere's famous ride, the Parsons family has been protecting the United States from threats both near and far. Joseph Parsons himself had limited powers, only able to sense imminent danger. But each generation of Parsons has inherited old powers and developed new. First, danger sense, later superhuman strength, eventually flight, and so on, and so forth. Today, Paul Parsons, the eighth, is legacy, the founding member of the Freedom Five, and just as every Parsons before him, he continues to fight the forces of evil in the name of liberty and of the common man. So, this is this guy. And the next guy is Bunker. During the Civil War, the Ironclad project produced the USS Monitor, a heavily armored ship that took part in a decisive naval battle against the CSS Virginia. Less than a century later, the ongoing Ironclad project produced another success, the Personal Armament Exo-Chassis YS-1200. The suit allowed one soldier to do the work of an entire squad and operated in an elite battalion during World War II. 50 years later, a new armored suit was developed, the Personal Armament Exo-Chassis YS-1300T. When the government began its Freedom 5 initiative, Lieutenant Tyler Vance was selected to operate the bunker suit for the first time as part of a non-army campaign. Thus, Bunker became the second member of the Freedom Five, joining Legacy in the fight against the villains who threatened the world. Okay, great. And then we got Absolute Zero. And I'm not sure if he's also, I think he might be also a member of the Freedom Five. But let's see. Here we go. A janitor at a cryogenics lab, Ryan Frost's life was literally put on ice when caught in a freak cyro explosion. His core temperature dropped to 0 degrees Kelvin, necessitating the cryogenic freezing of his mangled and frigid body. Over a decade later, Frost's body was seized as part of the Freedom 5 initiative. He was operated on under the extreme conditions of a frozen operating room, designed by Dr. Meredith Stinson. As he regained consciousness, Ryan Frost was offered a choice: live in a cyro chamber for the rest of his life, or be outfitted with a mobility-enhancing suit and join the team formerly known as the Freedom 4. Out of options, Frost became the hero known as Absolute Zero, rounding out the Freedom 5 and fighting for good to pay off the suit that allows him to live a normal life. Great. So it's your free choice. You can join the Freedom 5 or live in a frost chamber for the rest of your life. Well, that's definitely a motivation. Okay, and the villain is Citizen Dawn. So let's see why she is so evil. Young Dawn Cohen was not like the other girls. She could draw power from natural light sources, allowing her to fly, project energy blasts, and even control the aurora borealis. Testing her powers, she found them nearly limitless. She lost patience for normals and spent decades seeking solitude. Yet solitude was not her destiny. she was approached by other superhumans who had heard of her power and thought her a potentially great leader. Dawn turned them all away, but the words rang true. She was the most powerful individual in the world. Why should she seek isolation? She sent out word. Those stronger than their fellow man need no longer hide. Citizen Dawn called all such citizens of the sun to her side. Together they could be as gods among men and as equals only to each other. Okay, so this is the lady we have to stop, her and her fellow citizens. And so Citizen Dawn, she starts the game with 2 citizens. And it says here at the start of the villain turn, if there are 5 or more citizens in the villain trash, which is simply the discard pile, flip Citizen Dawn's villain character card. She may only flip once this way per game. At the end of the villain turn, Citizen Dawn deals the hero target with the highest hit points H -2 energy damage. And this is now exactly this this way to adjust the difficulty of the game. This H simply means hero. So in this case it's 3 -2 damage. So the hero takes 1 damage. If there were 4 heroes, he would take 4 damage. And we actually will use the advanced rule, which makes the game harder. Increase damage dealt by citizens by 1. And as you can see here, it's a villain and a citizen. So she will deal 2 damage. In addition, we have these token here now. They come with the enhanced edition, and that is pretty useful because you can mark now things like increased damage, and it's this one here, damage dealt +1. So it makes it easier to remember. Then we have these other markers here that indicate the life points, and I think they also come only with the enhanced edition. And she has 80 life points, as you can see. So if we kill her, we win the game. If she kills every one of us, we lose. And we start now with Citizen Anvil. And this guy has actually 7 hit points. And it says reduce damage dealt to citizens by 1. So that is why I placed this marker here. At the end of the villain turn, if Citizen Hammer is in the villain trash, put him into play. And then we got here Citizen Spring, and she comes with 6 hit points. At the end of the villain turn, each citizen regains 1 hit point. Okay, and we got here Legacy with 32 hit points. We got Bunker with 28. And then Absolute Zero with 29. So before I start playing now, I mean, I know that there are people who played this game, I don't know, dozens of times, and they know each hero really well, and they know all the villains, and they know which tactics to use when that hero plays against that special villain, and so on. And they know the environments and all that. And I don't know this. I just played, well, I played this game a few times, But until now, for example, I didn't play with Bunker or Absolute Zero, and I don't know the Ruins of Atlantis, because there's simply so much that if you don't play it really often, there are always surprises. So I will definitely make mistakes, and I might also use the wrong tactics, but well, I apologize for that. Okay, so let's start the game now. Okay, here on the back of that nice and very clear rule book, it comes a bit like looks a bit like a comic book, but it's definitely a very clear rule book with a glossary at the end, which is very useful. And we also find that player aid here. And each round starts with a villain turn. And well, at the start of the villain turn, it's obviously the start of the villain turn. And that means now here, at the start of the villain turn, if there are 5 or more citizens in the villain trash, flip Citizen Dawn, and so on. This is not the case. And then we play a villain card. So we simply draw a card from the top of the villain deck. And that says Luminous Leadership. At the start of the villain turn, each citizen regains 1 hit point. This is an ongoing ability, so that means this card will stay in the game. And then it's the end of the villain turn. And here we got, at the end of the villain turn, Citizen Dawn deals the hero target with the highest hit points H-2 energy damage. And then it's the advanced damage +1. So in this case, it's 2 energy damage for Legacy. So remove the 2 hit points. And that's basically it. And then we have here at the end of the villain turn, if Citizen Hammer is in the villain trash, put him into play. This is not the case. At the end of the villain turn, each citizen regains 1 hit point. That is also not the case. Okay. Okay, and what we do now is we have now the hero turns here. And, well, now it's the start of the hero turn. There are cards that say at the start of the hero turn, but right now we don't have these cards, so nothing happens here. And then we can play a hero card. And we go always from left to right. So first, Legacy will do his full turn, all these different phases. Then Bunker will do his full turn, and then Absolute Zero will do his turn. We start all with 4 cards, and well, I'll check them now. Okay, so the problem is that Citizen Spring and the Luminous Leadership, they actually allow every citizen to regain together 2 hit points during a citizen turn, during a villain turn. So I think it makes at least sense to destroy one of these cards. So I try to destroy Citizen Spring. I cannot do this with 1 card, but we'll see what happens. So I use this card here that says Thok. And Legacy deals 1 target 3 melee damage. Draw a card. So this card goes now on the discard pile. And I can then deal 3 melee damage to 1 target. In this case it's Citizen Spring. But there is -1 because of Citizen Anvil. Reduce damage dealt to citizens by 1. So she takes only 2 damage. So she still has 4 damage left. And then I can use a power. I play that hero card and I forgot to draw a card. I can deal the melee damage and then I can draw a card. So that's what I do. Okay, that's the heroic interception. Could be useful. And now I can use a power. And the only power I can use right now is this one here. It says galvanize. Until the start of your next turn, increase damage dealt by hero targets by 1. Okay. And then we can draw a hero card. So we simply draw another card. And then we are at the end of the hero turn. Okay, that's great. And we can now simply place that thing here, just to remember that we deal an additional damage until the start of Legacy's next turn. Okay, and now it's Bunker, and well, yeah, I guess. Okay, Bunker will play the grenade launcher. This is an equipment card and it's limited. Equipment card means it's a card that stays in play until it is destroyed for some reason or so, but in general it stays in play. And limited means that you can have this card only in play once. So I can have more equipment cards in play, but not this grenade launcher more than one time. And now I can use a power after I played my card. And now I have actually 2 powers available. I could draw a card, this initialize power here, or I could use the grenade launcher. But I can only use 1 power. And I will use this grenade launcher. This is better. Bunker deals 1 target 2 projectile damage. Bunker may deal a second target 2 projectile damage. Bunker may deal a third target 1 projectile damage. Remember now, we can deal an additional damage because of the galvanize ability of Legacy. But because of Citizen Anvil, all damages are again reduced by 1. So in the end it's the normal damage again. Okay, so we can deal now 2 targets 2 damage, and I think I will deal these targets each 2 damage. And I will deal her, Citizen Dawn, 1 damage. Okay, fine. So after I used my power, I'm now allowed to draw a card. And that's what I do. And then it's the end of the turn. So it's now absolute 0. And to be honest, I'm absolutely not sure how to play with this guy. I haven't played before, as I said. I don't get this power. For example, thermodynamics, absolute 0 deals himself 1 fire damage or 1 cold damage. I have absolutely no idea what use that would be, but I'm sure we'll find out during the game. Okay, so we got this ongoing module installation card here. And that's a one-shot card, so that means you can only use this card once. You may draw a card, but that's not true what I said. It doesn't mean you can only use this card once. It means you play that card and you do the effect of the card, and then it goes on the trash. If I can get this card for any reason back, or if I have a second card of this in the deck, I can play it also second time. Okay, so now you may draw a card, search your deck for a module card and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck, you may play a card. Okay, so first I draw a card. Then I will search the deck for a module card. I'm not absolutely sure what I'm looking for, but well, let's see. Okay, so now I understand the idea of this power thermodynamics. There are basically only two equipment cards, only two module cards. One is this isothermic transducer, which says whenever absolute zero is dealt fire damage, absolute zero deals one target that much cold damage. And then we also have this thing here, the null point Gorbration unit. When absolute zero would take cold damage, he regains that many hit points instead. So, and now you can choose if you deal yourself fire damage or cold damage. So you could now choose with that power if you want to deal damage or if you want to regain hit points. So that's not a bad thing. What I'll do is I will actually play this isothermic transducer. That is this, you may play a card. That is this onboard module installation thing. That is also the card that I've chosen from the deck, because I already had the other module in my hand, so there was no need to. This was basically the only module that made sense. Okay, and then I can use a power, and I think I'll take one fire damage. Simply throw that away, and then I can also deal that much cold damage. So I can deal now this lady one cold damage. We got a +1 and a -1, so she also takes a damage. The bad thing is now that they will all heal, and I don't have enough to kill her completely. It's not possible. There is no way that I could deal 2 damage with absolute zero to her. That's a little bad luck here. But I didn't have the right cards to do that. Okay. So that is now the end of the hero turn. And now we come actually to the environment turn. And it says, start of the environment turn. Well, okay, and then play an environment card. So now we draw one of these cards, Ruins of Atlantis. And that is the hallway collapse. When this card enters play, deal each target 3 melee damage. At the end of the environment turn, destroy this card. Okay, actually this is not so bad, because that means now that she is killed, which is okay, I guess. But first we will deal, because these are also targets, so sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. These Ruins of Atlantis, all these cards, they can also help us. And some environments are more deadly for the heroes, some are good for the heroes, and sometimes it's basically a destruction for everyone. And in this case, we were fighting in the hallway somewhere, and then the whole ceiling came down, and we are all taking damage. But, just a minute, we shouldn't forget that. Reduce damage dealt to citizens by 1. So she takes every citizen only takes 2 damage actually. Okay, fine. But the good thing is now Citizen Spring is killed. She goes on the trash. Okay, and then it's the end of the environment turn. And now it says simply, at the end of the environment turn, destroy this card. So that means this card is destroyed, and to destroy a card means to remove it from the play. So it can never come back. Even if we shuffle the deck again, this card is completely gone. Okay, so let's do a second round. We start now again with the villain turn. The start of the villain turn, if there are 5 or more citizens in the villain trash. This is not the case, there is only Citizen Spring. And then we play a villain card, but first we see if there is anything else. Yeah, here. At the start of the villain turn, each citizen regain 1 hit point. So, 1 hit point for Citizen Dawn, and another one for Citizen Anvil. Okay, and now we play a card. And guess what? It's Citizen Summer with 4 hit points. At the end of the villain turn, this card deals the 2 heroes with the most cards in play 3 fire damage each. This is not good. It might be good for Absolute Zero. We'll see about that, actually. So, yeah, that's a tough one. 2, 4. Okay. And okay, then we come to the end of the villain turn. And we start first here. You always play these effects in the order the card was played. So in this case, the cards were played. So we start with Citizen Dawn. At the end of the villain turn, Citizen Dawn deals the hero target with the highest hit points, H-2 energy damage plus 1. So that's 2. And the target with the highest hit points is still Legacy. So he takes 2 damage. Then we have at the end of the villain turn of Citizen Hammer, this is not the case. And now at the end of the villain turn, this card is the 2 heroes with the most cards in play, 3 fire damage each. So these would be these 2 heroes, because they have both 1 card in play. The grenade launcher and the isothermic transducer. But now, this thing here, the transducer says, whenever Absolute Zero is dealt fire damage, Absolute Zero deals 1 target that much cold damage. Okay, so we did now, we took now 3 fire damage, so that means we can now deal 3 cold damage. So overall, we can deal 2 damage to 1 target, and well, I think this will be, again, I'm not sure if it's Citizen Summer or Citizen Anvil. I think it's Citizen Summer. This 3 free fire damage is a pretty deadly thing. Okay. So that was now the villain turn. And I forgot, increase damage dealt by citizens by 1. That's important, so she does actually 4 fire damage each. So they lose an additional, but on the other hand, she will also lose an additional damage. I'm thinking now, actually this changes the situation now a little bit. if I can deal 4 damage instead of 3. Just wait a second here. This is already getting complicated now, and this is exactly the fiddly part of the game. I like it in some way, but it makes it a little, all these modifiers, this is what makes it really complicated. So let's see. This lady does 3 fire damage. Plus 1, so that means 4. Okay, so they are now at 21, both, after they took 4 fire damage each. And then Absolute Zero can deal as much cold damage. So that would be 4. And then it's this one, yeah, that's plus 1, so that's 5. And then it's minus 1, so it's again 4. Okay, so now I can deal actually 4 damage. And that means now I can actually kill Citizen Anvil, because he has exactly 4 left. Okay, that is good. So now this damage taken marker leaves the board. Okay. And this marker here is still here from the galvanize power until the start of your next turn. So it means it goes right now away, because now we start the hero turn. Okay, so let's play the Inspiring Presence. This is an ongoing ability, ongoing card. It's limited. When this card enters play, each hero target regains 1 hit point. Increase damage dealt by hero targets by 1. So that's definitely good. So now we all can deal 1 additional damage. I place that here to remember that. For all hero targets plus 1 damage. Or maybe I should place 1 here on every target, so that I don't forget that. And we all regain 1 hit point, which is definitely a very good thing. But this happens only once, but the damage increase stays. Okay, so that was the card I played. And now I can use again a power, and I will now use again the galvanize power. So I increase the damage again by 1, so now the damage is increased by 2. And I place another one here, especially on these 2. Oh yeah, and something I really love to forget in this game, I am of course allowed to draw a new card. Okay. And now it's bunker again. Let's see what we can do. Okay, I will play this equipment card here, the maintenance unit. And it simply gives me a power that allows me to regain 2 hit points. So that might be very useful. But for now, I will use again the grenade launcher. Bunker deals 1 target 2 projectile damage, a second target 2 projectile damage, and a third one 1 projectile damage. And now we have to remember that we deal 2 more damage because of the galvanized thing and this Inspiring Presence. So now we're actually not so bad. I mean, this guy can now deal 4 damage. So he can now destroy Citizen Summer, which is definitely good. And in addition, he can now deal to a second target for more damage. And of course this will be Citizen Dawn. Okay, and then he's allowed to draw a card. And that's the end of his turn. And now it's Absolute Zero. Okay, I will play actually this equipment, another module, and this is the null point calibration, or is it calibration? Ah, I see, calibration unit. When Absolute Zero would take cold damage, he regains that many hit points instead. So what I do now as a power, I will use the thermodynamics. And I will deal myself 1 cold damage plus 2. So I will deal myself 3 cold damage, but instead I will gain 3 hit points. So I'm now at 25, which is good. Okay, and after that I'm allowed to draw a new card. Very good. And then it's the environment turn, and we draw another environment card. Okay, and this is the phosphorescent chamber. Increase all damage dealt by 1. Increase all hit points recovery by 1. At the end of the environment turn, each player must discard a card. Oh my god. At the start of the environment turn, each player may discard 1 card to destroy this card. So that is a pretty nasty card. Okay. So what happens now, we have now the end of the environment turn, so each player must discard a card. We don't have to destroy the cards, so we don't have to remove them from game, but we must discard them. And that's definitely bad because we have less options in this way. Okay, so now each hero has discarded 1 card. That's what happens at the end of the environment turn. And at the start of the next turn, we can destroy the card by discarding each 1 card once again. Okay, so this is now the end of the second turn. And I say it's time to load this up. I hope you like it, and I hope to see you in my next videos. Until then, bye.